is Dark Stalkers getting a reboot, or are we getting another game in the installment sometime in the future? Possibly with the Capcom Fighting Collection, which came out at a left field with all these cool fighting game gems that were on it. It was really interesting to see that Capcom released pretty much all their Dark Stalker games. Sorry, I have a hard time saying the word dark. Releasing all their Dark Stalker games on this Capcom collection, and a lot of them we just never got released here in the United States. It is possible that we might be getting one, or maybe this is kind of a test in the waters for Capcom to see, hey, if this game does really well and people are asking for a new Dark Stalkers game or Vampire Hunter game, we might make another one. I could see possibly, depending if this game is done well in not only in Japan, because this was a very popular game in Japan, but also in the United States. I can see them reviving, just because the fighting game community has really surged since Street Fighter 4, but has really shown massive impacts within like the last, I would say, 7 years, roughly around the Street Fighter 5 Tekken 7 release, were really real-time, like professional gaming for fighting games has gone bigger. It just seems like it's the logical plan for Capcom to say, hey, let's release a new Dark Stalkers game or a new Vampire Hunter game, because we got games that just never released over here as well. The better versions, the more how do you say it, like balanced game versions of a Dark Stalkers, which if you're seeing in the gameplay in the background, playing the first Dark Stalker, and you'll probably see a little bit of the other ones in the background. Hopefully we do get a new one, or hopefully we get any of the games that are on the Capcom Classic Fighting Collection to be getting a reboot or a new release of it. Because Capcom has been releasing a lot of their Versus games, a lot of their old fighting games, as a recent, which is interesting, because they're re-releasing like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but in an arcade cabinet, obviously because of legal purposes, because I think with the whole licensing with Marvel and everything and the characters, they can't possibly release a normal like PS5 Xbox Series X version, or I don't even think a Steam version of the game, without getting into legal ramifications. But the fact that they released a new Dark Stalker, or not new, but re-released Dark Stalkers on the PS4 and the Xbox One and Switch version, shows that, hey, there may be some incentive to make a new Dark Stalkers. And I can see within maybe the next 5 years, we may get a new 3D, maybe 2.5D Dark Stalker game, which a lot of people would love. I mean, Darkstalkers has a very good cult following. It is a very popular fighting game. I can see this game being made again, being brought back, and being a very big in the Evo scene. In any of the professional fighting scenes, I can see this game being big. Honestly, it's going back and playing these old games that people are buying them and playing them. It's just, if the online base, because these games do have online, if people show that they're playing it and they get good feedback and the game's solo, they're going to show Capcom, or even like any other fighting game that exists for any other company, like not Bandai Namco, Koei Tecmo. If they see that these older games are doing well, they might re-release it. It's like with Dead or Alive 1, 2, 3, and 4, that they made them backwards compatible for the Xbox Series X as the final, like some of the final games to be backwards compatible. Obviously, they don't have their online, but it'll give people the incentive to get back into those old games, and they might remake them. It's like what they did with Soul Calibur 6, where it's technically a remake, but also, in a sense, kind of a reboot, but also a sequel, where it's set between the moments of Soul Calibur 1 and 2, and, it's a sequel, but it's also in between two major games in the franchise. So we might be getting something like that with a new Darkstalker game, where they could just, instead of a sequel, set it in between a certain amount of those titles, where we could get another one. I mean, it'd be really cool to get one of these games, because if you guys didn't know, it's been years since we got any, like, real new playable version in a long time of Darkstalkers, and it'd be really interesting to get this game to have a brand new coat of paint on it, brand new balance and buffs and stuff like that on these characters, in a 3D settings, because we've seen like Felicia and Morgan being used in a lot of crossover games, but we've never really seen a lot of Darkstalkers in like other media. Like Morgan has been used in a lot of like the Marvel versus Capcom games, or even like Capcom versus other games, and even like Felicia as well. She's been in a lot of versus games for Capcom, but we haven't really like fully seen a new Darkstalker game in a long time. So, do I believe that we could be seeing it? Possibly, thanks to these Capcom Fighting Collection. I could see it later down the road. We can get a new one within like maybe 3 to 5 years. We might get a new one once Street Fighter 6 has had its run with its lifespan. It might even go longer, honestly, since Street Fighter 6 is one of the most hyped games up right now. But I can see them wanting to bring in another fighting game that isn't Street Fighters. More than likely, if they do get a developer to make this, it's probably they're going to be Dimps, like how Dimps brought back the Street Fighter games, or they might be an in-game made Capcom game, like back in the day. But more than likely, they're probably going to get Dimps to make it. But anything, what do you guys think? Do you think we're going to get a new Darkstalkers game? Do you think this is a step forward for Capcom to bring back old fighting games? Let me know in the comment section below. And I am DB Otaku, and I'll see you guys for more awesome content. Peace out. Love you guys.